Deep in the wild, a forgotten dog was left alone to face a relentless wilderness. With no guide but its own courage, the dog battled bitter cold, hunger, and fear, determined to survive. Every heartbeat told a tale of hope and resilience that defied the odds. This is a story of raw emotion and unexpected bravery, a journey of love and loyalty that challenges the limits of nature. Stay tuned as this unbelievable story unfolds. Deep in a dense forest, where the wind whispers through the tall pines and the ground is carpeted with fallen leaves, a harsh reality unfolds. The woods are cold and dark, with only the faint glow of a hidden sunrise promising a new day. Here, nature reigns with unyielding power, and every rustle in the underbrush tells a story of survival. It is in this unforgiving landscape that one small, lost soul begins an incredible journey. Once, this dog knew warmth and gentle care. It had a home where laughter echoed and soft hands stroked its fur. But one fateful day, circumstances changed. In the blink of an eye, it was left behind, a forgotten creature in a world that suddenly grew vast and intimidating. The dog's eyes, filled with confusion and sorrow, mirrored the heartbreak of abandonment. No one came to call its name, leaving only the wild to offer both refuge and challenge. In the immediate aftermath of an abandonment, the dog wandered through the forest with trembling paws. The once familiar sense of home had vanished, replaced by the sharp tang of cold air and damp earth. Every step was a question. Where should I go? How do I find food and shelter in a land that feels so big and dangerous? The young animal's heart pounded with fear. Yet even in that fear, a spark of resilience flickered. It was as if the instinct to survive was woven deep into its being. Hunger soon set in, and the dog learned to scavenge for food among the forest's natural offerings. It sniffed out hidden patches where wild berries grew and where small creatures might leave traces behind. The forest, though unkind at times, offered small acts of grace. A patch of soft moss here, a clear, cold stream there. These simple discoveries became lifelines, and with each new meal found, the dog's spirit grew a little stronger, even as loneliness still weighed heavily on its heart. As days turned into nights, the forest itself became a character in the unfolding drama. Moonlight filtered through the trees, casting silver shadows that danced across the rugged ground. The dog would often rest under a canopy of stars, its eyes reflecting both the shimmering lights and the flicker of hope within. Even when the chill of the night seeped into its bones, the memory of warmth and love kept the spark of life alive. Each rustle in the dark could mean danger, or perhaps a chance to learn more about this wild world. Yet, the path was not always so quietly daunting. There were moments when the dog encountered signs of previous life in the woods. A worn-out toy half buried in the dirt, a familiar scent carried on the wind. These relics of his past brought both comfort and a painful reminder of what had been lost. They were small tokens of love and loyalty that once defined its days. In these moments, the dog would pause, its ears perked as if listening for a voice from a time when it was cared for, and then it would gather its strength and move forward. The forest tested the dog in many ways. Harsh weather, hidden thorns, and the constant uncertainty of where the next meal might be found all added to the struggle. Each challenge was met with quiet determination. The dog learned quickly that survival depended on alertness and a steady pace. It discovered safe spots where the wind was gentler and learned to trust its instincts when choosing paths that offered shelter. In its silent battles with nature, every small victory was a reason to continue the journey, to fight against the odds stacked high in the dark woods. There were also moments of unexpected beauty amid the hardship. Sunrises that broke the horizon in a blaze of soft colors, the simple comfort of a warm patch of sunlight on a chilly day, and the gentle rustling of leaves that whispered of better times. These fragments of hope were like hidden treasures that made each day worth facing. The dog began to see that even in the depths of despair, life had a way of gifting moments of calm and beauty. They were quiet signals that, despite the abandonment, there was still a path forward. Each step taken in the vast, intimidating forest was a step toward a future that the dog could only imagine. The memory of the loving home it once knew mingled with the raw reality of its new existence. In the silence of the woods, the dog learned to be both cautious and brave. It discovered that sometimes the most challenging journeys begin with a single, uncertain step, a step that demands all the courage one can muster. As the first chapter of its journey came to a close, the dog paused near a small clearing. The air was cool, and the sky was painted with the soft hues of early morning. In that quiet moment, the dog's eyes shone with a mix of sadness and determination. It had already faced a harsh beginning, but deep inside, there was a call to move forward, a silent promise that it would not let its past define its future. The forest, with all its trials and mysteries, had become both a prison and a teacher. And as the dog looked ahead into the unknown, one thought remained clear. Every ending is just a new beginning. The moment the dog left the small clearing, its heart was heavy with the memory of a lost home, but its paws moved with steady resolve. The forest grew deeper and more tangled as each step took it farther from what was once known. The path ahead was rough and full of challenges that tested every bit of its strength. In the early days of its journey, the forest was not just a place of fear. It slowly became a living, unpredictable companion. The ground was uneven and littered with hidden rocks and tangled roots that threatened every careful step. Rainstorms would arrive without warning, soaking the dog to the bone and turning the forest floor into a slippery maze. Yet, even under the harsh downpour, there was a spark of determination in its eyes. The dog learned quickly that survival meant accepting each day with both caution and hope. Every twist in the path brought new experiences. One day, while navigating through a dense thicket, the dog encountered a narrow stream. The water rushed quickly, carrying leaves and twigs along its current. Staring at the clear, yet forceful stream, the dog hesitated. The crossing was risky. One misstep could lead to a dangerous plunge into the icy water. However, a fallen log, worn smooth by time, appeared like a bridge. With careful steps, the dog made its way across, the log creaking softly under its weight. That small victory filled it with a renewed sense of purpose and strength. Just as relief settled in after the crossing, a new challenge emerged. The forest began to thicken, and a light mist rolled in, cloaking everything in a soft, eerie haze. Amid this fog, a mysterious sound echoed from behind a cluster of trees. A soft, persistent rustle that the dog could not ignore. Was a sign of lurking danger, or perhaps a clue pointing towards safety. The uncertainty stirred a mix of fear and curiosity deep within its heart, urging it onward into the unknown. If this incredible journey is capturing your attention, stay with us. More twists and turns lie ahead. Follow along as we discover what hidden surprises a forest has in store. With cautious steps, the dog moved toward the source of that sound. The deeper it ventured, the more the forest seemed to shift around it. The trees grew taller and closer, their branches intertwining overhead to form a natural, yet mysterious, archway. Shadows danced along the forest floor, creating fleeting images of both beauty and threat. Every sound, a rustle of leaves, a distant cry, the gentle whisper of the wind, became a part of the unfolding story, drawing the dog further into the wilderness. The journey was not just physical. It was a series of small battles that tested its very spirit. There were times when steep, rocky slopes slowed its progress, and moments when a sudden, cold gust of wind nearly sent it tumbling. In these moments, the dog's heart beat faster, and every muscle tensed in response to the wild uncertainty of nature. Still, it pressed on, driven by an inner force that refused to let the challenges win. Midway through this rugged path, the dog came upon a narrow trail lined with old, familiar scents. Scattered among the underbrush were hints of its past. A worn-out toy here, a familiar scent there, reminders of the home it once knew. For a brief moment, the dog's eyes brightened with hope, but the harsh reality of the wild quickly set back in. The glimpse of comfort was enough to fuel its determination. These signs were proof that hope could be found even in the darkest of places. As the day wore on, the forest shifted yet again. The terrain grew steeper, and the path became a series of tight turns and rocky outcrops. The dog had to use every bit of its strength and instinct to navigate the obstacles. At times, it paused on a ridge to catch its breath and gaze at the vast forest below, a wild expanse that promised both peril and possibility. Every step was a testament to its survival, a quiet battle against the unyielding force of nature. In a brief pause on its journey, as the dog rested under the shelter of a large, ancient tree, it seemed as if the forest whispered encouragement. The soft, steady sound of a nearby stream and the distant call of a bird provided moments of calm amid the chaos. In these moments, the dog gathered its strength and remembered why it had to keep moving, because the promise of home, or at least safety, was worth every hardship. Night began to creep into the forest, and with it came a new set of challenges. The darkness turned every familiar shape into a potential threat, and the silence was broken only by the subtle sounds of the nocturnal forest. Finding shelter became crucial. The dog discovered a natural nook beneath a thick clump of ferns where to curl up and rest, even if only for a few hours. The stars above shone faintly through the canopy, and in that dim light, the dog's eyes glowed with resolve to continue. As the night deepened, the forest grew still. The dog, though tired, remained alert, its senses constantly on guard. Every rustle in the dark, every whisper of the wind, was a reminder that the journey was far from over. The wild had a way of testing its limits, urging it to rise each time it faltered. With a quiet determination, it lay awake, planning the next day's trek through this unpredictable terrain. By the time the first light of dawn broke through, the dog was ready to move again. The journey had been long and grueling, but every obstacle had also revealed a new strength. With each step, it learned more about the art of survival, about the delicate balance between fear and hope. The forest was a constant teacher, showing that even the smallest spark of resilience could blaze a trail through the toughest of times. The dog's journey continued, its path winding deeper into a world full of both danger and beauty. Every new challenge added another layer to its story, a story of grit and quiet courage. And as it trotted forward into the misty morning, one thing was clear. The journey was far from over, and the forest held many more secrets waiting to be discovered. The forest began to change once more as the dog sensed a pull, a guiding force that felt like home. The trees seemed to part with a gentle invitation, and a familiar scent of distant memories stirred in the cool morning air. Every step now was not just a battle against the wild, but a march toward a place once filled with love. The dog trotted steadily, its ears perked and heart pounding with both hope and caution. The path grew less tangled and more open as the dog approached what seemed like the edge of the deep forest. In the distance, a soft glow and the sound of gentle activity sparked a glimmer of recognition. It was as if the echoes of the life once lived whispered through the leaves, pulling the dog forward with an irresistible force. Each paw print left behind was a mark of survival, and now it led to the doorstep of a past that had never fully faded away. As the dog neared this clearing, memories came flooding back. The crackle of a small fire, the soft murmur of a familiar voice, and the comforting clink of a bowl filled with food danced in the air like cherished dreams. The sight of an old, worn pathway and a dilapidated wooden fence triggered a deep longing. Here was where a family had once cared for the dog, a place where love had once been a constant companion. Yet, the signs were subtle. Nature had reclaimed much of the space, leaving only traces of what was once a home. Moving cautiously, the dog followed these traces, the journey now feeling like a pilgrimage toward redemption. Every rustle of the wind and every bird call seemed to celebrate this impending reunion. The dog's eyes shone with determination, and its steps became more purposeful. It was a race against time and fate, a test of whether the bonds of loyalty and love could defy the harsh trials of nature. Suddenly, as if the forest itself was guiding it, the dog came upon a familiar landmark, a large oak tree with a carved heart on its trunk. This heart was a relic of days filled with warmth and promise, a silent witness to shared moments of joy and sorrow. Stopping before the tree, the dog lowered its head as if in silent prayer. its eyes reflecting both grief and a spark of hope. The memory of laughter, gentle caresses, and safe nights under the stars shone through the gloom of abandonment. The dog resumed its journey with renewed vigor, each step lighter than the last. The path opened into a small clearing where the remnants of an old yard could be seen. Overgrown grass and wildflowers now painted the scene, but in the midst of nature's reclaiming, the outlines of modest homes still lingered. The sight of the weathered structure sent a jolt of excitement through the dog's weary body. This was a place that had once been a sanctuary, a place where it had known love and belonging. As the dog moved closer to the house, the sounds of the past grew louder. It was as if the house itself whispered stories of the days when life was full of warmth and laughter. The wind carried faint echoes of families' chatter, the clinking of dishes, and the soft hum of nighttime lullabies. The blend of these sounds and the scent of old wood and earth stirred a mix of emotions, joy, sorrow, and a burning curiosity about what might come next. Yet, as the dog neared the threshold, an unexpected barrier emerged. A heavy, rusted gate stood before the entrance, its chains tangled and locked in a way that made it seem impenetrable. The gate, now partly overgrown with ivy and moss, looked like it had guarded secrets for decades. With a gentle whine, the dog circled the barrier, trying to understand its purpose. Was it protecting something valuable? Or did it stand as a final reminder that not everything from the past was meant to be reclaimed? The dog pawed at the ground, sniffing the air and examining every corner of the gate. Its instincts urged it to find another way, to slip through a crack or an open window. But the gate was firm, a sentinel of the past that would not give way without a struggle. The sound of its paws on the gravel and the low, frustrated growl that escaped its throat were the only responses to this new challenge. Just when the dog began to feel the weight of uncertainty, a soft, almost imperceptible sound emerged from the direction of the house. It was a murmur, like the gentle hum of a familiar voice calling out from a distance. The sound was faint, yet it carried the promise of connection and comfort. The dog paused, its body tense with anticipation. Could it be that someone was waiting on the other side of that gate, a remnant of the family that once offered love and care? The dog's eyes locked onto a narrow gap beneath the gate, barely noticeable among the creeping vines and old wood. Driven by a mix of instinct and hope, it squeezed through the small opening. Every movement was careful, every sense alert to the possibility of danger or joy. Beyond the gate lay a narrow path, illuminated by soft, natural light that cut through the lingering gloom of the woods. This new path led the dog toward a weathered porch where an old swing creaked gently in the breeze. The swing, though worn by time, still carried the memories of laughter and care. The porch was quiet, but the air was thick with the promise of reunion. The dog's heart raced faster as it approached the wooden steps that led to the door. Each step brought it closer to the unknown answer that it had longed for throughout its arduous journey. Then, as if fate had orchestrated the moment, a door slowly creaked open. The sound was soft and hesitant, as if someone on the other side was uncertain about letting the past return. The dog stopped at the threshold, its eyes wide with anticipation, and its body trembling with a mix of relief and apprehension. The air was still, and for a moment, the only sound was the gentle creaking of the old door. But as the door opened just a crack, a shadow moved quickly behind it. A figure so unexpected that the dog's heart skipped a beat. The shadow was tall and indistinct, cloaked in mystery, and it moved with a deliberate slowness that hinted at secrets kept for years. The dog tilted its head, trying to understand the sudden appearance, while the light from the porch revealed more of the familiar yet changed scene inside the home. At that instant, the sound of a distant siren wailed in the background, mingling with the soft murmur from inside. The siren's call added an eerie note to reunion, as if warning that not everything was as it seemed. The dog's eyes darted between the open door and the shadow, its body frozen in a moment of intense uncertainty. Was this a friend from the past, or did this mysterious figure herald a new danger lurking in the shadows of a once safe place? Before the dog could take another step, The shadow stepped back into the dim interior, and the door swung slowly shut with a final creak. The moment hung in the air, like a question waiting for an answer. The familiar yard, the old house, and the promise of home were all there, but so was the mystery of the figure and the sound of the distant siren, hinting at events yet to unfold. In that final, breathless moment, the dog's eyes reflected a mix of hope, fear, and a burning curiosity. The return that had begun as a journey of survival was now tangled in secrets and unanswered questions. What did the shadow mean? Was it a guardian of memories or a harbinger of new trials? And most importantly, what would happen next in a place that held so much of the dog's past and so much uncertainty for the future? The story paused here, right on the edge of revelation. The door remained closed. The siren's echo faded into the distance, and the dog stood at the threshold of both a familiar past and an unknown future. The answers lay hidden behind the locked door and within the silent corridors of the old home, leaving the viewer to wonder, was this the true return to safety or the beginning of an even greater mystery?